Hi, all right, let's do this. I'm so excited. Okay, the phone is gonna ring. All right, good morning, you guys. I am super excited to be here for you guys to give you this free 5-day training that is starting out with my poor dog coughing and the phone ringing. But we're gonna do this anyway, right? Gotta be completely authentic. So let me know when you guys are jumping in on here live. I would love for you to awesome and engage with this live. I'm doing this live in our group, Your Spiritual Awakening Community. And hello to somebody that just said hi on YouTube. So if you guys aren't following me on YouTube, feel free to jump on there. I do trainings once in a while. Good morning, Chalina. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Rhonda. So I'm so glad so many of you jumped on here. Hey, Karen, I'm so glad you're here on the live too. And I actually wrote myself notes to make sure I wanted to cover a lot of stuff. So we're covering a lot of stuff. Hey, Kelly on YouTube. This week. So if you haven't already signed up, you're going to want to go to my website, brandaline.com/paranormal, and sign up so that you get access to the replays for all of this week. We're doing a whole 5 free days of paranormal training. We're going to be covering about the dark side. That's what we're talking about today. And also spiritual protection. We're going to talk about tricksters, spiritual influence, and the last day we're going to talk about some tips on house cleansing. So hey, Annie, I'm so glad you're here live too. Hey, Autumn. Hey, Krista. So great. And if you haven't followed me on YouTube, go ahead, follow me on YouTube at Spiritual Awakening Babe on there and on Instagram. So without further ado, let's talk about, and if I look funny, it's because I have 2 cameras, so I might be staring at the wrong one and Arla might look weird. But let's get started talking about the dark side. So when I first became a medium, when I first developed into my mediumship, I called myself the scared medium, and I wanted to share a little bit about that today because it was so funny because I did not have any intention to speak to the dead. I had no clue I could do it, and I didn't have any desire to do it, and then I started doing it kind of on accident. And once I realized that I had the ability to communicate with the dead, I started wondering, what else is out there. And I was scared because I had all these preconceived ideas about like the devil and about darkness, and I didn't even want to know about it, honestly. I wanted to stay far, far away from that thing. But what happened is once I became well known as a psychic medium, people will reach out. People reach out, and I teach this in the Awaken program with my students in there. People will reach out to you asking for your help. So it's important for you guys to, educate yourself so that you can better help your clients once they start reaching out. Because when you're a psychic medium and you have the ability to see, hear, feel, and know things that the average person doesn't, those average people that have an experience that's doesn't fit with logic and that it's not explainable, they have fear. And that's a lot of what happens is when you have fear, it's usually because it's unknown to you. And so that's why we're doing this free training. So what ended up happening is I ended up really having to educate my own self as more and more and more and more people kept coming to me with different problems, different spiritual problems. So I like to give a little bit of free information about it because I feel like nobody should be scared in their environment. Nobody should be scared in their own skin. And everybody needs to have at least some tools and some understanding and knowledge about what they're dealing with so that they can feel more empowered, right? And so that you guys can deal with a lot of this stuff yourself. So if you haven't yet checked out on the website, we have a free library. There's some of this information on there already. Yes, Olivia saying it could be crippling fear, and she's absolutely right. So yeah, awesome. So if you guys have questions during these, let me know. So basically, when it comes to the dark side, I had shared something yesterday talking about I put someone who seeks life force through manipulation and control of others, right? And it was kind of funny because I'm always into the whole narcissist situation, and that's what narcissists do. They try to manipulate and control people and situations in order for them to feel empowered. Well, that's a narcissist, that's an average person, right? But that's kind of what the dark is. You have to realize that the dark, why do we call it the dark? Because it's away from the light, right? So anything that's far from love, detached from light, is part of the darkness. So you could say, technically, a narcissist is kind of a darker being, right? But the big thing I want you guys to take away from this is always go back to your knowledge that you are a soul, and always go back to your awareness that we are one, right? You're one with me, you're one with the narcissist, you're one with the devil, right? If you so want to believe in an entity such as that, you're also one with God, with the angels, with source, with all of nature, right? So if you can embrace that you are one, then you need to realize that you're also one with the darkest of the darkness. Have you guys ever heard of your shadow side or your shadow self? Right, there was a funny meme that came out, and it was saying, it was like, I don't know who it was, but it was a character, and it was saying, your light side is you're all love and light, and on the other side of the meme, it was like bitches and hoes or something like that. Like, I really want bitches and hoes or something, and that's a perfect example of your light side and your dark side. Is you have this dark side, right? But so does the darkness. So my point is you can and you can't, but is to really embrace the dark and not condemn the dark, because you've got to realize that we're all on this path of getting closer to consciousness. We're all on this path of getting closer to who we truly are, right? Is a piece of God, is a piece of the light, is whatever you want to call that source energy, right? And so who you are today versus who you were years ago, right? Maybe you're closer to that light. Maybe you've illuminated a lot of your shadow and a lot of the darkness, and you've come closer to love. Well, the dark side is really just really friggin' far away from the light. And so that's my whole point, is like, if you can embrace that, then you can realize that it's on its way. Whatever creepy thing, right? And there's creepy things out there, but it is trying to find its way to the light. And so what happens is when they are disconnected from the light, then their life force, they need to seek energy from somewhere, right? So they come and they try to manipulate others. And we're going to talk more about that on, I think, Thursday, when I'm talking more about spiritual influence. But that's what's happening, is they're trying to take your light in order to receive energy, right? Just like the narcissist, I'm going to explain that again. Just like the narcissist is going to try to create drama, because that's the only way that they feel empowered, and they're seeking love in a backwards way. And this is why I talk about the spiritual awakening is so important, because it fills the God-sized hole, right? You guys hear me talk about the God-sized hole. Well, the darker you are, right? The darker you are, the more you're going to try to consume things, get things in to fill this hole, unbeknownst to you, right? A lot of times unconsciously, you're going to fill this hole with alcohol or manipulating other people, or you're going to fill this hole with, gambling, or all of those addictive behaviors, right? Or overeating, or creating drama at the grocery store, and feeling empowered by being mean to other people. This is all of you filling in that God-sized hole. Well, when we come along to our spiritual awakening and we really get connected to source, and we really start doing the self-work, because that's a lot of what spiritual awakening is, then you feel so connected, and you feel so loved from everywhere, and you feel a sense of empowerment because you have this beautiful, amazing job to do while you're here, right? And when you get to that connection, you no longer have to fill this God-sized hole, right? Somebody's asking, so you mean we should at least be aware of our dark side on our path to consciousness, right? Yes, and I was more using an example of our dark side to kind of give you an example that we're all on our way to the light, and we all are peeling off the layers of our shadow side. But when we're talking about darker entities and demons and all of that, they're so far removed. They're not aware of their dark side, and they have no intention of getting better, right? And so there was something I shared before, is the best thing that you can ever do for anybody, including the creepy old creepers, my hair's getting all crazy, is to work on your own life, because you've all heard, be the change that you wish to see, right? And so the more that you can bring yourself to the light, the more you're helping the creepy creepers. So the whole point about the dark side, and something else I want to bring up is the ego, right? We're talking about ego. So the more ego that we have and the more we operate on our ego, the more darker we're going to be, because it's me, right? My husband calls them me monsters. It's more focused on me, right? And not worrying about other people or how your actions are impacting the whole consciousness, the conscious soup, right? And the dark side is a very vibrational thing, okay? So let's talk about that really quick, because one girl reached out to me before and she was freaking terrified. She was so terrified because the washer closed on its own or something like that. And it was something that I actually kind of laughed at, and then I realized she's really freaking terrified, and she thought she was going to be possessed by the devil. I shit you not. She felt like she was going to be possessed by the devil because she thought her washing machine was haunted. Funny story really quick is right before this training, I was going back into the closet that also, there's a door to the closet, and then there's also a door to the bathroom through the closet. Well, I was going in the closet to put something in there, and and all of a sudden the door to the bathroom just shut closed, scared the holy crap out of me, right? So it doesn't mean that I can't get scared, but it was really my husband. I had no idea he was in there, so hilarious, right? But my point that I'm bringing this up is because, yes, something scary might have happened in her house, but that doesn't mean she's going to be possessed with the devil, right? Everything's very vibrational. So if your environment, you have the windows open, you let light come in, you meditate, you're love and light only, you're a very positive person, you are way less likely to have something dark come in, right? If you are really depressed all the time, you leave the curtains closed, you're majorly into drugs, or maybe there's sexual or physical abuse going on in your home, or you're living with a narcissist, right? You're more likely to have something dark come in. So this is why I wanted to educate you guys that it's not just some random, you're going to be possessed by the devil because you saw something scary. It's more of a, how is your environment? And what is it attracting, right? We're talking about like attracts like, right? Yes. Darkness seeks out darkness to make it more dark, right? And darkness does seek some of the light, right? Because the light is energy. So when we're talking about being mediums, right? When we're talking about symptoms of being a medium, if you have the mediumship light on, a lot of mediums tend to kind of attract a little bit of the dark because it sees your light and it wants your light. However, let me put this. However, hold on a second, my husband just walked by and messed me up. However, it will be a temporary type of situation, right? Because it'll get bored. Because if you have your shields up, and we're going to talk more about that in the protection section probably tomorrow, if you have, it's almost like a barrier, right? So let's just say, let's pretend like you're a boat and you have those barnacles, you know, that come and they're hanging on you, right? So if your boat is nice and it's slick, a barnacle's only going to hang on for a minute. I give the weirdest examples I know. But if your boat is dirty and clunky, then the barnacles are going to be able to hold on for longer and accumulate more and more and more. And then the more barnacles you get on your boat, the slower your boat goes. It's sad and depressed boat, those types of things. So really it's about paying attention to your environment and your personal energy. So this was kind of what I wanted to explain today in the first day on what is the dark. So you can embrace it and understand it for what it is instead of being fearful, and realize that it's all part of us, right? So let's see, let me answer a couple of your questions. And I don't see the comments on the YouTube. So, because I know that there are people, all messages are visible. Oh, people are asking questions like crazy on YouTube. Okay, so somebody says, I have an owl fly in front of my car this morning. I drive the same, never seen it before. Is it a message? Yes, look up owl spirit totem or spirit animal, and it's probably asking you to pay more attention today and to be more observant, because owls are like that. Hey, I told him to be quiet. You know, he decided to water the plants. Just one more minute. I'm almost done, baby. And then, so that answers that question. Karen says, I felt things since I was very young, and I have on and off studied, but I get so scared sometimes that I just stop everything. I mostly feel, but I also see things. So it scares her to death. Really, I hope this training kind of helped you embrace and understand that everything's just energy. It takes different forms, right? There's so many different forms of energy. So it's just a lower level of energy, right? This whole week will really help you, Karen. That's my whole reason for doing this for you guys. I don't want anybody to be scared, right? Spirit must be messing with me while I'm talking. I heard knocking this morning when I got up. Darkness seeks out darkness. I like that. And Olivia says, I feel like I have many disembodied spirits hanging out in my body. I attract them like crazy. I grew up in a very abusive environment, and I don't feel powerful enough to remove them. You maybe want a session with me, Olivia, but if not, you can definitely get yourself in the sea salt bath. We'll talk more about this week. But growing up in a very abusive environment, so let me share this, and thank you, Olivia, for sharing that. And she says, I feel like I have many disembodied spirits hanging out in my body. She says that, and I say she very well might. If she really believes that, then it's probably true. So this whole week is for you, girl. But growing up in a very abusive environment. I'm gonna give an example. I don't know if this is what has occurred with you, but because you brought this up, I feel like it's important to share that when we do grow up in abusive environments, have you guys ever heard of soul retrieval? Kind of a situation like that. It's like a piece of your soul escapes because it's so traumatic, right? And when we're in a traumatic thing, like our shield gets down, right? And so it's almost like she could have got a crack in her energy field, and then something could get in, right? And the longer it's able to stay there, the more powerful it becomes. We're going to talk more about that on Thursday. But yeah, living with a narcissist, seriously, no joke, right, Sarah? Seriously. So glad I'm over that, right? I think we all have to go through that, though. Yeah, Karen, you'll be fine. Karen, I would recommend the Awaken program for you. That way you could work alongside me to help you open up without being scared and give you the right tools to do that. Let's see. So I'm answering the questions without reading them, sorry. Try meditation to remove negative energy. Somebody's replying to Olivia. Yeah, there's a beautiful meditation, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow too, on the free library called the Advanced Protection Technique. Go ahead and grab that, or it's on my YouTube channel, Spiritual Awakening Babe, and it's called Advanced Protection Technique. Just Google that. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I answered all your guys' questions. So if you just now jumping on, go back and watch the replay. And if you haven't signed up, go to brandaline.com/paranormal and join there so that you get the emails with the replays in there. I'm so glad to have you guys in our group, your spiritual awakening community. If you're not in there and you're watching this on YouTube, come join us there. It's an awesome community. I absolutely love that you guys are in our community. All right, so I will talk to you guys. I'll be here tomorrow at 10:30 Pacific time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about some spiritual protection techniques and some things that you guys can do to feel safer in your own environments and your own skin. So I'm sending you guys all love, and I will see you tomorrow. Right? I'll figure out how to end the live here. Oh.